What's up everyone, Vu of Vu Films, and I am back with another idiotic video for you to watch. In today's video, I'll be talking about why I choose to film with the Sony a7S III for all my professional work, personal work, documentary work, whatever, versus every single other camera out there. Blackmagic, Backpack, Cinema, 4K, 6K, Panasonic, and whatever else Canon trash has to offer. So why do I shoot with Sony a7S III other than the fact that I'm a big fat piece of Sony douchebag trash fanboy? For context, let me just show you this quick 1-minute film of my family time at the beach.
Exhaustion. That was the first thoughts in my mind when we planned a beach trip. But we did it. We took a step away from our own selfish needs for rest. We took a step away from the white walls of our home to take one step towards the white waves of the ocean. There was definitely exhaustion. But their smiles, their laughter, their overwhelming joy uplifted us more than the strongest brew of coffee. It's in these little moments we realize that their happiness is ours.
Felt like this before. It reminds me what I've been missing.
I did it!
Every memory, every morning, it reminds you what I've been missing. I saw you for the first time.
And there you have it. That was filmed with the Sony a7S III and the Sony 35mm G Master lens, which apparently focus breathes more than an Asian dude at the buffet eating crabs. It's pretty much this setup. This is actually another Sony a7S III with a 24mm G Master, and that's a Sony a7S III with the 35mm G Master filming right now. And it's pretty much the same size, everything's pretty much the same setup, whatever. But the reason why I film with the Sony a7S III is the fact that I could use this camera for high-end client shoots, whether it be $20, $30, $40, $60,000 commercial corporate videos, or $4,000, $5,000, $6,000 weddings, or family videos. And it's literally the same camera, the same setup. I pretty much take this exact setup, film high-end professional work, and then go pick the same setup up and film my family films, travel films, what have you. And I'm not walking around looking like a total douchebag with a big old cinema rig or a rigged out Blackmagic cinema camera, or I could hand this camera over to my wife, just as you probably saw in the video, I was in it because she filmed part of it. And I just set exposure, handed it to her, and let the autofocus do the rest. Just take a look at this raw footage. I can start recording, so you can just take it.
Peekaboo! Peekaboo! Yeah? Buzz, do you want to give Daddy a kiss? You want to give Daddy a kiss? Go give Daddy a kiss, Buzz. Go.
With that being said, there's obviously other cameras from Panasonic and Blackmagic, where you could argue, you could still do somewhat of these things, but the fact that I could just set this on a tripod and rely on the continuous autofocus to get the job done, that is not something that Blackmagic can do for sure. So let's just put that camera aside. And that also rules out Panasonic, because Panasonic autofocus is slower than an Asian lady driving on the highway. Then of course, there is Canon. Why don't I shoot Canon? Other than the fact that it is complete trash camera brand, I would not shoot Canon DSLR. So if I were to shoot Canon, I would shoot with the mirrorless ones and the RF mount and all that stuff. But let's just be real. Sony E-mount has so many more native E-mount glass and lenses that are, native to the E-mount system, works perfectly for autofocusing, all the other electronic functions of the camera and lens. But also it's the size of the lens. If you look at all the lens lineup that Sony has, one of the biggest factors of the Sony system is obviously the size of the cameras, and they have managed to keep these mirrorless cameras very small and tidy, does not overheat, long-term filmmaking, and the lenses are small relative in comparison to other lenses that the RF, let's say Canon RF mount has. So there's a 24mm G Master, same thing as this 35mm G Master, they're the same size. These are f1.4 lenses, and look at how nice and tidy and like small it is in comparison with the body as well. And of course I have the 14mm G Master f1.8. The only other company that even makes a 14mm f1.8 autofocusing lens is Sigma. And that lens is a lot bigger than this and not this light either. And this is again, 14mm wide angle f1.8. And look at the size of this lens compared to my hands. My hands are very used to holding things of small girth. I'm not gonna tell you what. And here is the Sony 50mm f1.2, and this 50mm f1.2 is actually quite a bit smaller and lighter than the 50mm f1.2 from Canon. So there is that. So going back to the fact that I could just use this to film high-end productions and then also pick it up and do family stuff, obviously I could shoot photos with it. And matter of fact, a lot of times I just set this thing on tripod and I just hit it up, record, and filmed it in 4K, and then I would go in and take a screenshot and use that as family photos for social media or small prints and stuff like that. So that takes away that whole 12 megapixels not enough for photo. 12 megapixels is plenty for family photos, even professional photos printed up to 20, 24 inches, no problem, still maintaining your 300 DPI. So if you're shooting portraits and what have you, the Sony a7S III is still a great camera for photography. And if I didn't tell, a lot of times I didn't tell people that I posted these screenshots up, they probably thought it was just a photo, but it's just a 4K screenshot. And obviously, like I said, the Sony a7S III still takes amazing photos, as I've been posting throughout this video. So we're all familiar with, I'm not gonna, that's pretty much it. That's why I use Sony a7S III. I could go on and on about the specs and everything, 4K 60, 4K 120, 10-bit 422, multiple different SD cards. We all heard all about that in previous YouTube douchebag videos, either from me or other tube douches out there on the YouTube space. So with that being said, I hope this video helped you get a little insight on why I shoot with Sony, and specifically the Sony a7S III, and maybe it helped you make a business decision and purchase a Sony a7S III yourself if you're still going through, thinking about what camera brand you want to invest in. With that being said, guys, thanks for watching this video. If you liked it, please hit the subscribe button, like the video. Until next time, lighten up.